Have you ever imagined building $1 million business without quitting your current job? It might sound impossible, but it's not. In fact, it's actually the smartest way to start. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they need a ton of money, unlimited free time, or a groundbreaking idea to become an entrepreneur. But the real secret lies in maximizing your time, applying the right strategies, and building an efficient system. I started from scratch. No investment, no experience, all while juggling a demanding job and studies. Yet, I still managed to turn a simple side project into a highly profitable business. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same. The idea of starting a business while keeping your job might seem overwhelming, but the truth is, most great success stories started exactly this way. The key isn't to drop everything at once and risk it all. It's about building a self-sustaining, scalable business that can grow gradually. In the beginning, everything feels uncertain. How do you pick the right idea? How do you find the time? How do you know if it will work? But here's the first big truth. Success doesn't come from having the perfect idea. It comes from consistent execution. Many people believe they need a brilliant, never-before-seen idea to succeed. But the reality is, it's not about the idea itself. It's about how you execute it. Take coffee shops, for example. Starbucks didn't invent coffee, but they transformed the customer experience into something unique. The same applies to online businesses. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to find a low-cost business model and execute it with dedication. The first big obstacle is the fear of starting, and that's completely normal. The human brain is wired to avoid risk, and anything that pushes us out of our comfort zone triggers a natural self-preservation instinct. But the difference between those who succeed and those who just dream is their ability to take action despite the fear. There's no perfect moment to start. The best time is right now, even if it's just a small step. One of the biggest myths about starting a small business is the belief that you need a lot of money to get started. That's simply not true. In today's digital economy, there are countless ways to launch an online business with minimal upfront investment. From freelancing and content creation to digital products and e-commerce, there are opportunities for every skill set and budget. The key is to choose a model with scalable growth that can become a reliable income source. Another limiting belief that holds people back is thinking they need to know everything before they start. No one starts as an expert. Everyone learns along the way. The important thing is to have the humility to recognize that mistakes will happen, but each mistake is a valuable lesson. Instead of worrying about being perfect, focus on being consistent. Consistency is the single most important factor in the success of a new business. One of the most common excuses for not starting a business is a lack of time. But the truth is, time is never the real issue. It's about priorities. Think about it. How much time do you spend mindlessly scrolling through social media or binge-watching TV shows? If you can set aside just 2 hours a day to work on your idea, you'll already be ahead of 90% of people who say they want to start a business but never do. The key is to use your free time strategically, turning small time slots into productive work sessions. A real-life example of this is how I started my own project. I was studying and working at the same time, but I decided that my weekends and evenings would be dedicated to my business. At first, it felt like I wasn't doing much. But over time, I realized that small, consistent actions create massive, long-term impact. If you can dedicate 2 to 3 hours a day to your business, that adds up to nearly 1,000 hours in a year. Imagine how much progress you could make with that time investment. Another crucial factor when launching a profitable business is choosing something with real demand. That means understanding what people are already looking for and how you can offer a better solution than the competition. Instead of creating something just because it interests you, analyze the market. Research trends, look at what products or services are in high demand, and find a competitive advantage. Here's a simple exercise. Make a list of skills you already have and think about how they could be turned into a business. Can you edit videos, design graphics, teach a specific skill? All of these can be monetized. And if you don't have a clear skill yet, start learning one now. There are countless free and affordable courses that can give you the foundation to launch something profitable. Also, don't stress about having everything perfectly in place before launching. Many entrepreneurs waste months, even years, trying to make everything perfect before putting their business out into the world. But here's the truth. Perfection leads to paralysis. The secret is to launch something simple, test it in the market, and refine it as you go. That's how great businesses grow, through adaptation and continuous improvement. To sum it up, your first step doesn't need to be huge, but it needs to happen. Forget the idea of waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions. Time will pass anyway, and the only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the decision to start now. The next challenge? Structuring your time to ensure your low-investment business grows without interfering with your current routine. Are you ready? After taking the first step, many people find themselves stuck in a dilemma. How do you stay consistent without burning out? After all, building a profitable business while still working a job requires smart time management and efficient execution. The key to growing without feeling overwhelmed is to systemize processes and implement strategies that drive predictable growth. When I started my own project, I quickly realized that working without structure left me exhausted and decreased my productivity. I was creating videos randomly with no real plan, which made the process slow and draining. It wasn't until I put an efficient system in place that I gained traction and started growing consistently. If you want to build a scalable business, you need to think like a strategist from day one. The first change I made was creating a repeatable process. Instead of treating every task as a one-off challenge, I started grouping similar activities together. This is called task batching, a highly effective technique for optimizing time. For example, instead of scripting, filming, and editing videos on different days in a scattered way, I dedicated one day just for writing scripts, another for batch filming multiple videos, and another for editing and scheduling posts. This approach works for any small business, whether you're creating content, selling products, or offering services. Another game-changing tactic was automating repetitive tasks. In the beginning, I was spending way too much time creating descriptions and thumbnails for each video, so I developed templates and workflows to speed up the process. This allowed me to focus on the tasks that actually drove growth instead of getting stuck in operational details. No matter what business you're in, there are tools that can simplify your workflow, whether it's scheduling social media posts, automating emails, handling customer service, or managing orders. The more you automate, the more time you free up for strategic growth. Beyond streamlining tasks, I also needed to learn how to grow quickly without being limited by the hours I put in. Many people start a side business but remain trapped in the traditional mindset of trading time for money. If you want to build something scalable and profitable, you need to think bigger. One of the biggest lessons I learned was that growth doesn't happen by accident. It needs to be driven strategically. In my case, YouTube was the main platform for growing my business, so I studied what made a video go viral and how the algorithm worked. The same applies to any new business. You need to understand the key drivers of growth in your field and leverage them to the fullest. The first strategy I implemented was creating content based on real demand. Many people launch products or services that nobody is looking for, then get frustrated when they don't get customers. Instead, I started researching the exact questions people were already asking and created content that answered those questions. If you're planning to start an online business, do the same. Find out what problems your audience has and provide direct, effective solutions. Another essential strategy was learning how to grab attention quickly. On YouTube, I realized that if no one clicks on your video, it doesn't matter how good the content is, it won't be watched. So I spent time refining titles and thumbnails. In any business, whether it's a blog, an Instagram page, or an e-commerce store, the same principle applies. If you don't capture people's attention in the first few seconds, they'll leave. And this ties into one of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to grow, focusing too much on quality and not enough on distribution. What makes a business grow isn't just having an amazing product or service. It's knowing how to get more people to discover and trust what you offer. That means mastering marketing strategies like paid ads, SEO, strategic partnerships, and audience building. But rapid growth isn't just about attracting more customers. It's also about maintaining a sustainable routine. One of the most valuable lessons I learned was the importance of protecting my time and avoiding distractions. Too often, people get caught up in busy work and neglect the tasks that actually drive real progress. That's why I started using time blocking, a technique where each time slot is dedicated to a specific task. Instead of trying to do everything at once, I set specific hours for replying to emails, creating content, studying, and resting. This not only boosted my productivity, but also helped me avoid the trap of feeling busy without making meaningful progress. Another major realization was that there's a limit to how much you can grow alone. No matter how much I optimized my processes and eliminated distractions, there came a point where I simply couldn't do everything by myself. That's when I had to learn how to delegate tasks and build a team. At first, hiring someone felt like a big investment, but the truth is, the sooner you delegate, the faster your business can grow. The first step in delegating was identifying which tasks took up the most time, but didn't need to be done by me. In my case, editing videos was consuming at least 20 hours per week, so I hired an editor. That freed up my time to focus on growing my channel and monetization strategies. The same principle applies to any low-investment business. Outsourcing operational tasks allows you to focus on what actually drives growth. If you're still in the early stages and can't afford to hire help yet, start by documenting your processes. This means that when you're ready to delegate, it'll be much easier to train someone to take over part of the workload. The sooner you structure your routine like a real business, the faster you'll reach the growth you're aiming for. Now that we've covered how to optimize processes and accelerate the growth of your online business, the next step is learning how to turn this project into something sustainable and structured for the long term. After validating your idea, building efficient processes, and learning how to grow without burning out, it's time to take the next step, turning your project into a sustainable, long-term business. Many people start a profitable business, but they remain stuck in freelancer mode, where everything depends on them. If you truly want to build something solid and scalable, you need to start thinking like a long-term entrepreneur. The first major shift in this transition is changing your mindset from creator to business owner. When I started my YouTube channel, I still saw it as a side project, just something extra that could bring in some income. But as my business grew, I realized that I had to start treating it like a real company. That meant implementing business strategies, setting clear goals, and making data-driven decisions. One of the first changes was structuring well-defined internal processes. In the beginning, I was improvising everything, solving problems as they came up. But when I decided to treat it like a real business, I started using key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure progress. This helped me make smarter decisions and quickly identify what was working and what needed improvement. Another big lesson was understanding that a successful business can't depend 100% on its owner to operate. Many people start a small business, but never break out of the cycle because they stay stuck in day-to-day operations. The key to overcoming this is having a well-trained team and processes that ensure the business runs smoothly, even without your direct involvement. My first hire was a video editor, which freed up 20 hours per week. But beyond that, I learned that hiring people isn't enough. You need to train them and give them the autonomy to perform their roles without constant supervision. Effective delegation isn't just handing off tasks. It's about making sure each team member understands the company's mission and how their work contributes to the bigger picture. Another crucial factor in building a sustainable business is diversifying revenue streams. Many people rely on just one source of income, which makes them vulnerable to market shifts. In my case, besides YouTube AdSense, I expanded into brand, partnerships, online courses, and coaching programs, creating a more stable financial ecosystem. For any new business, diversification is key. If you run an online business, you can explore affiliate marketing, consulting, digital products, subscription models, or even hybrid strategies that combine multiple income streams. The most important thing is to create financial resilience, so that your business's success isn't tied to a single source of revenue. But here's something most people don't talk about: balancing growth with quality of life. Growing fast is great, but if it comes at the cost of your physical and mental health, it becomes a problem. I've personally experienced this. Working 12 to 14 hours a day, with no time for rest, family, or personal life. The result? I almost burned out. That's when I realized the importance of conscious time management. I learned that doing more doesn't always mean achieving more. I started focusing only on the tasks that truly moved the needle, instead of wasting time on things that didn't contribute to growth. This is when I implemented strategies like time blocking and strategic delegation, ensuring that my business could grow without sacrificing my well-being. Another key factor in maintaining a structured business is staying up to date. The market is constantly evolving, and if you don't keep up, you'll fall behind. I invest time and money in continuous learning, whether through books, courses, events, or mentorship programs. If you want to keep your low-investment business competitive in the long run, you need to adopt this growth mindset. Always ask yourself, what can I improve? What can I learn that will help me grow? Now that my business is structured and sustainable, my focus is on strategic expansion. This means creating new products, exploring new platforms, and scaling my team without compromising quality. And the same applies to any small business. The ultimate goal is to grow efficiently while maintaining work-life balance. But here's the secret. Growth never has a final destination. There's always room to adjust, improve, and evolve. The question you need to ask yourself is, where do you want to be 5 years from now? If your answer includes more freedom, financial stability, and control over your life, then the entrepreneurial path is the right choice. Now that we've covered how to structure and scale your business, it's time to connect everything with the final key lesson. Now that you've seen the path to building $1 million business while still working your job, the big question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you just watch this and go back to the same routine, or will you start applying these strategies right now? The truth is, time will pass anyway, and the only difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is the decision to take action. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment never comes. What separates great entrepreneurs from those who just dream is consistent action, even when the path ahead isn't 100% clear. So what can you do today to take the first step? How can you adjust your routine to dedicate a few hours to your own business? Small daily actions add up to extraordinary results in the long run. If you found this content valuable and want to learn even more about building a business the smart way, I highly recommend watching the next video on your screen right now. There, you'll discover even more advanced strategies to accelerate your growth. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because I'm always bringing you content that will help you transform your financial future. See you in the next video.